There is a quiet truth, deeply understood by traditional agrarian communities like the Amish. The food security of a family should never be wholly surrendered to the rumbling of overnight freight trucks. We find ourselves in a society where sustenance is concealed in flashy packaging, artificially preserved on chilled, sterile supermarket shelves. Yet cultivating our own harvest right where we stand frees us from the fragile tethers of distant supply chains. It is in this grounding practice that we learn to cherish the profound freedom and self-reliance a humble plot of earth can provide. In those moments when the outside world grows restless over soaring prices or vanishing provisions, the only ones who maintain a deep peace of mind and a warm, bountiful hearth are those who quietly sowed the right heirloom seeds months before. Today's film is not about temperamental exotic blooms, nor delicate vegetables that demand the meticulous pampering of a greenhouse. Together, we will reflect upon an unshakable pact with Mother Earth through 8 profoundly practical crops. They are the silent warriors of the tropical and temperate climates, striking deep roots, growing with a fierce vitality, yielding enduring energy, and keeping perfectly without the need for the electrical grid. Most importantly, they bestow upon you their seeds, ensuring the cycle of self-sufficiency turns forever. When envisioning a self-sufficient garden, the first threshold we must cross is the harvest of time. The human body requires a swift replenishment of vital vitamins and minerals before we can even look toward long-term energy reserves. In the realm of rapid growth, water spinach is a botanical miracle. Its will to live is so fierce that you need only snap an aged, woody stem and gently press it into the damp, earthy mud, and roots will eagerly burst forth. Unlike the patient vigil required of seed sowing, propagating from cuttings allows you to harvest a basket of crisp, vibrant greens in an incredibly brief window of time. It offers an essential flow of iron and vitamin C to sustain your bodily strength. And to ensure this cycle remains unbroken, leave a small, untouched patch in the corner of your garden. The delicate purple-white blossoms will unfurl, eventually yielding to countless jet-black seeds. You will reap an insurance policy for next year's harvest without spending a single copper coin. Alongside carpeting the earth in green, your garden requires a steadfast fortress, a living boundary protecting both your space and your nutritional reserves. The sweet leaf, often known as katuk, has borne to shoulder this quiet duty. Demanding none of the sheltered care required by fragile leafy greens, this semi-woody shrub carries the resilience of the wild. By simply planting a mature cutting into a damp trench tracing the perimeter of your garden, you not only forge a lush, green hedgerow, but you also cure an abundant vault of plant-based protein, calcium, and iron for years on end. Within the treasury of folk medicine, the sweet leaf is known for its cooling properties, offering a soothing balm for the body during the blistering heat of summer. Its sturdy leaf epidermis allows it to naturally fend off pests while patiently enduring seasons of drought. The more you harvest, the more fiercely it branches and flourishes a generous reply to the quiet stewardship of human hands. Yet, tender greens merely sustain the body's basic metabolic hum. The human frame requires natural sugars to forge true energy. When time is too fleeting to wait for legacy fruit trees to blossom, the papaya emerges as a miraculous gift of speed. As an indigenous survivor of tropical climates, it journeys from a humble sapling to a tree heavy with fruit in a remarkably short span. A robust papaya tree reaching skyward in the center of your garden can provide a rotating food source year-round. The firm green fruit acts as a perfect starchy vegetable for rustic stews and stir-fries. The soft, sun-ripened fruit is a goldmine of vitamin A and natural sugars. Its dried male blossoms have been passed down by our ancestors as a warming herbal tea, traditionally used to soothe a weary throat. And when you slice open a ripened fruit, the hundreds of jet black seeds resting inside are an invaluable resource. washed and dried in the cool shade. They provide enough heirloom seed to sow a small forest. The only thing this resilient tree fears is waterlogged roots, so mounding the earth for perfect drainage remains the golden rule of its cultivation. In a landscape where sources of animal protein become a costly luxury, the human muscular system will cry out for sustenance. In this hour, the legume family, particularly black beans and mung beans, will rise to become your most steadfast pillar. They are a supreme source of high-quality plant protein and complex carbohydrates, sustaining your endurance through long, taxing days of manual labor. But the most magnificent value of beans lies in their mastery of preservation. A clay jar filled with sun-drenched, dried beans, tightly sealed, can rest undisturbed in the quiet dark of your pantry year after year, completely untouched by weevils and suffering no loss of nutritional vitality. Furthermore, legumes hold a breathtaking ecological secret. Clinging to their roots are nodules housing rhizobium bacteria, entrusted with the sacred task of drawing free nitrogen from the atmosphere to enrich the earth. They are among those rare, noble entities that simultaneously feed humanity while quietly healing Mother Earth. Recalling these tales of the Earth's restoration, I find myself curious. In the land where you dwell, which variety of bean grows most fiercely in your home garden? Do you have a tradition of sun-drying the harvest for the winter pantry, or perhaps companion planting them to blanket the soil? Please take a moment of stillness to leave a few lines in the comments, sharing your wisdom with our community. Your rustic experiences are the kindling that warms and spreads the love of working the earth to those around you. By companion planting beans at the feet of corn or papaya, their sprawling vines weave a living mulch, locking in moisture, smothering weeds, and engineering a flawless miniature food forest ecosystem. When the biting winter cold sweeps across the north, or relentless monsoon rains drown the central lands, preserving sustenance without the electrical grid becomes a monumental trial. That is when the humble pumpkin proves its worth as a magnificent engine of photosynthesis. It transmutes the blazing summer sunlight into dense, heavy calories, locking them safely within a rigid, protective rind. Not a single fragment of the pumpkin is squandered. The tender shoots are sautéed with garlic. The golden blossoms simmered into broth. The young gourds act as a daily staple, and the roasted seeds are a profoundly precious source of zinc. Most remarkably, the mature, deeply cured pumpkins with rinds as tough as horn serve as the ultimate natural root cellar. They can sit forgotten in a dark, cool corner of the kitchen for months on end. No matter the harshness of the weather outside, the flesh within remains a vibrant, golden yellow, flaky, dense, and wonderfully sweet. To satisfy the voracious appetite of the pumpkin vine, the secret of the old agrarian masters is to dig a deep trench, burying decaying leaves, dry grass, and organic compost at its base. The plant will plunge its roots into this massive subterranean stomach, sending out sprawling, endless vines that bloom and bear fruit in spectacular abundance. It would be a stark omission in our portrait of survival if the backyard banana grove were absent. Through the lens of true self-reliance, the banana is not merely a sweet dessert fruit. It is a continuous, cascading fountain of energy. The ripened fruit delivers potassium and natural sugars for days of heavy toil. The green, unripe fruit, heavily fortified with resistant starches, can be boiled to fill the stomach as solidly as a sweet potato. The thinly sliced banana blossom serves as a crisp, rustic salad, while the chopped, water-rich trunk provides crucial fodder to sustain a family's small, off-grid livestock ecosystem. The ancestral art of cultivating bananas lies in establishing a three-generation harmony. A mother tree bearing the heavy stalk, a juvenile tree preparing to inherit her place, and a newly emergent shoot. When the mother tree fulfills her life's purpose and is felled, the subterranean corm quietly pushes forth countless new shoots. By carefully separating one of these horned shoots and relocating it to a new corner of the garden, you set the wheel of life into motion once again, never having to fear the well running dry. When resources dwindle to nothing, when the soil turns barren, or when relentless droughts crack the fields and lesser crops quietly surrender, cassava, also known as yucca, remains standing like a monument of pure resilience. Defying rocky, unforgiving hillsides and impoverished soils, the cassava's roots stubbornly plunge deep, filtering out every rare drop of moisture and transmuting the harsh sunlight into massive, subterranean vaults of starch. The dense calories provided by a single cast iron pot of boiled cassava are enough to carry an entire family through their darkest, most grueling days. The quiet wisdom of our ancestors teaches us the ritual of preparation. Stripping away the thick rind, soaking the roots in starchy rice wash water for a few hours, and boiling them with the lid off. This time-honored practice completely draws out the natural sap and compounds in the root, leaving behind a pure, white, flaky, and deeply nourishing flesh that is perfectly safe for the family table. Upon completing the harvest, you need only take the straight, woody canes and firmly plant them back into the earth. They will eagerly bud, root, and patiently repeat their lifelong vow to shelter and feed humanity. Finally, if we must choose the single greatest emblem for the quiet art of survival, it is the sweet potato. The creeping vines weave and braid together, forming a lush, velvet green carpet that gently smothers invasive weeds to shield the topsoil. Just a short time after planting the slips, you are rewarded with a basket of tender, sun-drenched leaves to sauté, instantly replenishing essential vitamins. And while the broad leaves drink in the sunlight above, deep within the loose, friable earth, a reservoir of energy swells. These intensely sweet tubers, whether roasted in the hearth's white ash, boiled soft, or sun-dried into cured provisions for the winter pantry, carry an enduring, slow-burning caloric energy, flawlessly solving the dual puzzle of daily greens and heavy staple rations. The secret to a bountiful sweet potato harvest does not lie in expensive synthetic fertilizers, but in the physical labor of regularly lifting the sprawling vines. This simple act severs the wandering, adventitious roots, forcing the plant to channel all its vital force deep down into the primary tubers. A single cutting buried back into the damp, earthy loam will swiftly rise to greet the sun, continuing a flawless, unbroken cycle. You might wonder why paddy rice, the very soul of agrarian civilization, is absent from this gathering. Rice is a magnificent choice in an era of absolute peace, sprawling across vast plains sustained by intricate, sweeping irrigation networks. But in a landscape of individual self-reliance upon a modest, confined patch of earth, wet rice demands an exorbitant volume of water and grueling physical labor to harvest, thresh, sun-dry, and mill. On that exact same humble plot of land, if you plant cassava, sweet potatoes, or pumpkins, the caloric yield you reap will be vastly superior. These 8 resilient crops are the true, weather-beaten companions, standing ready to shelter you when the currents of the world turn turbulent. The most perfect time to begin sowing your seeds is not when you start to feel the creeping anxiety over soaring prices at the supermarket. The ideal time is right now, while the sky remains a tranquil blue and the world around you is still at peace. Today, a bundle of greens or a single seed potato is but a trivial expense, and the ancient agrarian wisdom sits quietly waiting for you to embrace it. But the turning wheel of nature never waits for human hesitation. Imagine, in those times when the outside world is caught in a frantic rush, you are standing in the quiet stillness of your yard. You place a steaming iron pot of sweet potatoes over the hearth and harvest a basket of vibrant, tender sweet leaves that your own hands nurtured months ago. Food sovereignty is not a fleeting reflex to run and hide. It is a profound philosophy of deep, pragmatic, and remarkably wise preparation. Tomorrow, when the first golden rays of dawn break the horizon, which cutting will you choose to press into the earth to begin building a self-sufficient, ecological haven for your family? If the stillness and the profound power of Mother Earth in this film have touched your spirit, please gently press the like button and subscribe to our channel, so we may continue to walk this path together. Let us cast aside the heavy chains of dependency and bow down to relearn the art of nourishing ourselves from the humblest of heirloom seeds. Our next great journey into healing and self-reliance will soon unfold. We warmly invite you to join us.